remember what the segment's called, but
he's having
Here you go. What were you going to say? What sort of year was it, Em? Apparently your reply was, mate, do you know who I am? Em had a sip of that stupid water bottle for the 6th week in a row.
Oh, mate, yeah, with a straight face. Can crack a smile. All right, welcome back to the Better Down Back podcast. And we are back in the back room.
Yep.
And how good does the studio look, Jord?
No, it looks good. It smells good too. It smells new. There's a bit of new smell in here.
Paid job.
Great. Yeah, no, I like it. No, it's good to be back on the home deck. Yeah, let's get stuck into it. Struck into it, I was going to say, but stuck
You're
into it.
You're the best at introing our guests. So
we've got the lovely David Warner on the podcast. No, just kidding. It's Karl. How do you feel, mate? Coming off a pretty solid game on the weekend. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty good. Bit sore now, but no, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on.
More importantly, how does it feel to be on the podcast, and have you listened to many before?
Yeah, I've listened to a few, but I think we're first time in this room, so lucky me.
Yep. No, and it's great to have a defender on the potty.
Oh,
you know,
it feels
he's
good.
Been there, he's played it all, but we've got him in the back line at the moment, and I don't want him to go anywhere because he's playing some bloody good football. And before we get stuck into your footy and your whole journey and what life's been like since you came to the club, because it was a little bit different for you, but we're going to get straight into the anchors in action.
Hey, put on your Superman coats, boy. It's Wolfie time. Let's go. You
Now, Em's been having a go at me because I wanted to get straight into it. So, do you know what, Em? For that, you can go first. You can go
let
first.
Karl say, yeah, I'm going good, feeling great. Move on, all right.
Yeah, well, we're going to get talking about him and himself, so we might as well get this important part of the show in.
That's
and then we
fine.
can unload, let the floodgates open and hear all about Karl.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. We're going to hold that suspension there. Suspense.
Good stuff.
Don't ask me.
Sorry, Karl. So this section, we like to highlight an unsung hero around the club. It can be absolutely anyone in the team or staff, whatever. And today, I think I'm going to nominate Angie Bain. She is our head of wellbeing here at the club. She's basically just my right-hand lady when I want to have a meltdown. But she's actually incredible and has helped us girls a lot with, I guess, just that mental toughness and resilience that the modern game requires. And just love that her door's always open and you can always go in and have a chat. So thanks, Angie.
Yeah, I can second that. And she's a quality person around the club. She did a lot for me my first year, but mine's probably Tendai Mzungu.
Love.
He's a quality man, Tendai, and he's done a lot of work for me in my development of my football over the past 4 years. So, yeah, he's my unsung hero.
And here's the cutest two little boys in
they are very
history.
cute.
Yeah, they are. They've got cool names too, don't they?
Denzel and
Dallas, yeah.
And I just love how they kick the football as well. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
Oh.
We've got a few players on our hands there, I reckon.
Next generation.
Few father sons.
Yeah, we do.
So good.
You forgot to throw in Winnie with Ange. The dog's a package deal.
Sorry, also, Anne's just been bailing me up saying, when's Winnie going on the podcast? I'm like, enough about the dog.
Oh, I'd be like getting a bit of water out of a stone, that. Yeah. Sorry, Ange. Giving you a pump up there. We've just backhanded you about the dog. That's all right. Mine is going to be Joe Ayres and Twig. I'm going to throw them together. Mm-hmm. Just because everyone knows, it's no secret, it's not hidden, that I do get a little bit frustrated and hot under the collar at times, people could say. The point is, the work I've done with them, they've actually helped me, deal with my frustrations better. Not get rid of being frustrated, but dealing with my frustration in better ways. And so I feel like they've been really important for me around the club this last year. I've already nominated Twig, but Joe and him it's been a joint effort. So
It's actually really nice. I love that you've nominated them for a different reason as well, other than coaching, and the fact that they've given you strategies to deal with frustration on field, but knowing that they would know firsthand as well what it feels like.
Oh yeah, yep.
So it's amazing. Absolutely love that. And then just speaking on the game on the weekend, we won't touch on Jordan's 50-metre penalty that he gave away. But we will touch...
50 away.
Just a free kick.
Nah,
Free
just
kick.
a free
Oh,
kick.
okay.
Yeah.
But then you got one back from the big flop that you did on the
That wasn't a
far
flop.
side.
It's called Ford Craft.
So anyways, we will talk about the game. It was the Purple Haze game, which meant that for every goal kicked there was a pledge made for the Starlight Foundation, which is absolutely incredible. So let's talk about that first of all. And Jord, there's been some amazing vision that's popped up of you post-game, giving a little boy, what's his name?
Mateo.
Mateo some high fives after the game, and he absolutely loved it, and all the Starlight kids obviously thrived. Talk us through what that felt like.
Yeah, well, for me personally, it was my first Starlight game. Pleasure to be a part of, and I did watch the video. Clarky spoke very well afterwards. But yeah, just to see the broader impact that we can have as a football club in that game in particular. And I thought even singing the song in the rooms after the game with the little kids was pretty adorable.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, no, and it is. It's super special. It's more than just a game. Like I said after the game, they're going through some bloody tough times that little kids shouldn't have to go through. Like, little kids' lives are supposed to be them running around, having fun, being happy about everything, not, being struck down in hospital beds and going through multiple surgeries. So, the things that we are able to include them in through last week, it's the least we can do. I wish we could do more, but, it makes you so proud just to be a part of those, those kids' lives. And, I think we talked, Banners spoke after the game that even young Matteo was going back in this week for more surgery. So, yeah, they have some tough lives, not just the individuals, but their whole families as well.
But I think that's just inspiring, right? Like, they were able to then get to your footy game on the weekend to support you guys. And I think, speaking of inspiring acts, I think that you guys would have showed them some inspiring things on the field as well. For me, JT's chase down tackle, obviously it's highlighted all over the socials, but absolutely love acts like that of toughness and just put the head down and get the job done. And I think that, kids looking on, I know it's obviously perspective that they are sick and this is just a game, but I also think that would inspire them each and every day as well.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it feels weird drawing comparisons, inspiring people on a footy field compared to what they're going through, but if you put it in a similar vein, I suppose, there was.
But I mean, you guys would have been inspired by them to play.
Absolutely, yeah,
like that.
But it also makes you realise that footy's more than just a game.
Yeah.
Like it is. At the end of the day, we still get to go home. Sun comes up in the morning, still get to go out for brekkie and live a very great lifestyle. So it doesn't quite compare at times, but there were some great acts, and I just want to touch on Karl on the weekend. I don't know how many times he went back with a flight. He got a shot at goal. But, he's starting to...
But you told us off air that it actually wasn't a 50 metre.
That was about 40. Oh, yeah. The next 10 might have helped me. Nah.
Yeah, I reckon mine was 40 as well. Lucky I put it 20 rows back, so it didn't matter. So did you, mind you, from 55 out.
Not between two big sticks, though.
Yeah, but no, honestly, Karlos, you touched on Moz and the development of your football career, so we might as well get into a little bit about that. But first of all, on the weekend, you had career high metres gained. 1%ers career high as well, or equal high. Talk us through that. How do you feel at the moment? Because if we go back to round one this year, had to play on the wing, couldn't get into the back line to start the year, got dropped, come back in, and you haven't missed. Like, you've been an integral member. One of my favourite teammates to play with on the ground.
Remember you talking to us girls last week as well, Karl, about your role and how much it obviously means to you to own that. And knowing that, like George said, you played round one, you actually then got dropped, but then you managed to obviously work your way back to getting the team. So I guess talk us through that journey in itself, but then how you're feeling actually just playing footy at the moment.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just trying to get a little bit of continuity into my football. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure to sort of play, I guess it might be 13, 14 games on the trot when... sort of my goal was to try and play 10 games and just try and improve my football. But I think it's an integral part of our backline and the standards that we set that I think for me personally, walking in each week, I know it's expected of myself and the backline and the rest of the group. So, yeah, after round one, I mean, it was a difficult process, but that's part of football, really. Being dropped happens. So for me personally, it was just trying to get back on the horse and try and work my way back into the team. And I guess as a laid in, I sort of knew at the time, well, just give it my best and let's just sort of see what can happen. And yeah, fortunately, I've sort of played every game since and hopefully continues that way. But yeah, just loving playing some good footy at the moment and a couple of wins on the board.
Yeah, and obviously you glossed over a fair bit there, but I don't think many people would know the change in probably your mindset. You talk about, what's required of me, but it's a hard thing to change. When you first come to the club, you're a bloke who loved the ball in his hands, right? Like Karl was playing halfback at Peel and putting up like ridiculous
everyone does.
stat sheets.
I mean, that's what you always probably think as a young kid coming in as well.
100%. And that's unfortunately wasn't really the way into our team for Karl. But the way you've able to switch your mindset to now be a bloke who doesn't actually always play up at the stoppage. You play deep. You play wherever you need. You go and do a job if you have to do a job. And then still have a significant impact on games. How were you able to actually change that mindset?
Great question.
You can't just do it.
Yeah, I think it's just getting some open and honest feedback, as you said, and you touched on earlier in the team meeting. I guess in order to grow my football, I had to understand that there's a greater part than just getting the footy. And I guess when you come into the AFL system, you're probably a little bit naive of that in a way, where you come from, talent league and school football, where you do get quite a bit of it, but that's just not the case. And I learnt that, I guess pretty quickly at AFL level, that sometimes you have to sacrifice your own game for the betterment of the team, and that's what I just love doing. I love being a part of the backline. I think it's such a great backline that we do have. Just having the open and honest conversations really about where I can take my footy game to the next level, and that's being able to play lockdown defensive roles, doing some work in the contest. So, I'm more than happy to sort of make that sacrifice. And I know those parts will eventually come to my game, but for the moment, I'm just really, really enjoying my role.
He's making it sound easy.
Yeah, and he makes it look easy too at the moment.
He does.
He's going that well. But
I have a question on that though. I feel like it's, again, like easier said than done, but like how do you actually find we call them endorphin hits. When you haven't got the ball in hand, how do you find, that celebration or pumping yourself up for small things? Like it could be just like bumper barring someone back. Like it could be little things like that. Like how do you celebrate that? Or do you rely on your teammates also to provide you that feedback?
It's an interesting one. It's something that I've done a lot of work on personally, just trying to get myself into the game without, having to have the ball in my hands. And I think a big one is, I guess the communication element. I'm not like the biggest extrovert going around, or can be pretty awkward at times, but I think just for me, and I did receive the feedback that my communication, I guess, has to go to another level if I do want to make it at the top. So I sort of took that upon myself, where I guess at training I really tried to work on it, and in games as well. And I guess that's sort of my endorphin hit in a way,
cool.
where I'm not involved. I can, be loud, set my teammates up.
Love it.
And just sort of set the ground up the way that we want to play and the way we sort of benefit off from that.
I love that. We like to say communication is a skill. It's not a personality type. And you've obviously hit the nail on the head there, Karl.
Yeah.
So things we love to see. And I hope that you get in Jordan's ear a little bit more.
What about?
About when you flop. I'm going to keep bringing up. Anyways, let's actually talk about Karl's footy journey. Then obviously we touched on this year, but let's start from the very beginning as a junior. Where'd you grow up? Who'd you play for? Did you play Auskick? Talk us through your sporting life.
It's a bit of an interesting journey. It's a different one. I think, growing up, clearly my mum's Swedish. She doesn't really have too much football knowledge behind her, but I guess growing up in Australia, and my dad, I did whatever my dad was, and that was footy and cricket. So from a young age, that was pretty much ingrained into myself. Just I guess the usual sort of pathway as a young kid. You go through your Auskick programs. I started at the Eastfield Football Club with my cousins, where my dad played his football, so love to follow in his footsteps. But then I played a portion of my footy, just the Ashley Redbacks with a lot of my schoolmates, then went back and finished at Eastfield with my juniors, and then sort of from then on, it was a bit of a rocky road, really. I was quite a late developer. I didn't grow till I was probably 17, maybe early 18,
right.
So I was never quite on any draft radar. And for me, and probably similar to Clarky, is that you had the growing up playing footy and cricket. Probably wasn't as good as cricket as he was, but so I think
Stop it.
Made the choice a little bit easier for me for footy.
It's all right, Karl, you can say continuity. I don't think Jordan would be able to pronounce that.
It's a bit stiff.
That's all
right. But yeah, just I guess I did have to make that decision, and to be honest, it wasn't really too hard because cricket's a pretty hard game to make it in. And from there, I just tried to just play some strong football. But Oakley Chargers, with the talent pathways there, I got pretty much cut from every team I can remember. Year 7, 8, 9, 10, got dropped from Oakley Chargers bottom age, and that's sort of where, I don't know, it sort of clicked for me in a way where I wanted to play football and give it my best shot. And just I had a pretty honest conversation with my dad, who I'm pretty close to, and just talked about my journey and how I can sort of get there. In 2020, didn't play a single game due to COVID. And yeah, top age, I played top age at the Chargers. I think we only played about 6 games that year, but I just tried to put my best front foot forward in each game that I could. And yeah, eventually got rookie to Fremantle, which was another very weird entrance into a football club as well.
Yeah, so we will touch on that because it was a very unique entrance for you into the football club. Obviously, rookie drafted in the November and didn't get to Perth until February. So you pretty much missed the whole pre-season, or a fair chunk of it. Whereas as a new bloke coming into the club, you want to be there for pre-season. Like that's where you can really like turn some heads, or you can show the boys what you're made of, show the coaches what you're made of. And in a way, that was taken away from you. You didn't get that opportunity. So you had to wait to come over to the club. And you're in Melbourne training by yourself. What did that look like, that little period, and how weird was it?
Yeah, it was very different. It was a weird time for not just me, but my family as well, because normally, I guess, when you get drafted and you go to the other side of the country, you know, 2 days later, you're out the door.
Yep.
So I think my mum was actually quite pleased that I wasn't going out 2 days later, but I was sort of itching to get over because I know how much of a different pre-seasons makes, and I think I understood that when I sort of first came over. But I think I was just a bit of a myth at the club. I think the boys knew me as this time trial kid, and everyone still to this day thinks I rode it on a bike. But
Yeah.
because I did it away from the club, and it was a weird time. But I guess the whole sort of COVID thing, it puts a lot of things into perspective. Where, I guess there's a lot of things, other people going worse off. So I just control what I could really, and I came over 3 months later. Yeah, and that was plenty of running. I was bit of a lightweight back then, so I could move around a bit quicker than I was now. But yeah, it was certainly different.
You did mention as well that when you were drafted and had to meet all the boys as well, you were in the lecture theatre, and the boys are all in their seats, and you're just seeing a big Karl on the projector screen right in front of you. That would have been so daunting.
Yeah, it was just added to the weird experience of myself getting drafted. As I was saying to you girls last week, me being the awkward bloke that I am, knowing that I'm on Zoom and in front of everyone, and I remember everyone just walking past the door and just looking at the screen going, is this the bloke?
This is the time trial guy.
So it was weird, but I wouldn't change a thing really, because it sort of makes everything sort of special, I guess.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, you're right. And everyone's sort of journey is unique. And then to follow on with that journey and the extension of it is you had to play, everyone likes to say it's an apprenticeship, but it's not really. You had to play a lot of football at Peel Thunder. And in the end, you kind of changed the type of player you were through the help of Moores and your own bat, really. And you end up playing in a flag for Peel last year. Not only just playing in the flag, one of Peel's more senior best players. To talk us through what that season was like the role you actually played, because it was a very tight group. And like, what are the memories of that day and that year?
Well, it was a great year. I think in general, we lost the flag the year before. I think my first year at Peel was a little bit of an up and down year where I sort of found myself in the resis. And I think from that point on, I just wanted to try and get the best out of my footballing ability and just try and improve as much as I can. And at that time at Peel, I've learnt a lot of good lessons along the way. And that group last year was really special. I think, last year I played sort of round one and then had that head knock and never really worked my way back into the team. So it gave me a really good opportunity to work on my football at Peel. And it was, I sort of look back at that final series and we're 20 seconds away from being straight-setted. And I was in the coach's box at the time because I'd pinged my calf the week before. I think for me personally, it was such a good experience, an invaluable one as well. I think the WAFL is such a big league, and I probably didn't realise that one until I came over here. Just the tradition behind it and all that. So, to win a group that to win a flag with a group that you spend a lot of time with, certainly very meaningful. And I think you get to the end of the year and you can be pretty physically and mentally exhausted, and you just all together, all 22 on the field, just try and give it one last go. And when that final siren went, I was pretty happy with a bandage around my nose.
And speaking just of that head knock as well, Karl, I know that obviously had a huge impact on you, player. Talk us through, I guess, how you went about your rehab from there, and even just getting back into playing footy, but also contesting the ball again the same, because I feel like it would have been so hard.
Yeah, I guess I sort of reflect back on that time, and it was a bit scary. I mean, as it would be, but it's sport. Those incidents happen, and
your mum hated it.
Yes, my mother did hate it very much. My dad was actually playing golf in Scotland at the time, and then mum was in Melbourne, and she was more than ready to fly over. And I'd sort of tell her, "Look, I'm okay." But it was different because I've never really experienced a concussion or one that severe before. But I think the care of the football club, that the doctors we have, the protocols, my teammates who are looking after me, just made it a really easy approach. And there's always that element you want to try and push yourself back, but with brain injuries, it's a different beast. So
wild.
Just having the support network of the club and also my family, just to make sure that I return to playing the safest way possible. And I guess for me, and sort of returning to that football, I feel like it's just my brand. That's something I love to bring to the table, and I love to win, and I love being a part of like a backline that sort of sets those standards, yourself included, Clarky, where it's our turn to put our head over the ball, we just do it. So yeah, it's never really been a question of me getting back to that point. I just sort of was just patient and waiting for my opportunity, and I sort of felt it's been nice to show that at times this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And no, he certainly does the work because, you know, you're in every day almost to come in early before the sun's even up almost sometimes to work on your marking. Like, you don't fluke this stuff. Like, you actually put in so much work outside of the hours we're actually supposed to be at the club to get your game to the level. Is there a moment in this year in a game or at home or having a conversation with your dad where you went, you know what, stuff this, I actually am good enough. Like, what I've just done here, like, that just instilled some belief in yourself.
And we don't want you to be humble here.
Yeah, no, because we all have a moment where we go, wow, it's clicking. Like, that's what it's going to take. Like,
yeah, well, if I take myself back a couple of years ago, before I was drafted, I remember when I did get cut from the Oakley Chargers, I actually went down to my dad's office and had a conversation with him. And he was pretty honest with me at the time. He said, look, if you feel like you're good enough, you put all chips in and have a crack, you know. And I think that was sort of the tipping point where growing up, me being underdeveloped, I probably never really quite worked as hard as I needed to until I guess that point where I sort of matured in a way where, if I wanted to get where I wanted to go, I had to sort of put my head down in a way. And even to early this year where I did get dropped after the Geelong game, I had a coffee with Tendai, someone who's been with me, I guess, the first 3 years. And I remember sitting down with him and had a really open and honest conversation with him, just talking about my football as you can imagine when you get dropped. It's never easy.
No.
And yeah, just trying to work through what my best footballing looks like and just still having that belief in myself. And funny enough, that day I actually got the late call in to play against West Coast. So
Wild.
Yeah, it's funny how I guess that sort of turn of events does happen, but they're probably the two that come to mind. And that's why I guess Tendai is my unsung hero, because he's done a lot of work for me. And even that coffee at the start of the year just to sort of get my footballing again was influential in a way.
And I absolutely love that, because I think what I'm getting here is you say your story's so different, Karl, but I actually think that's the normal story. Like, people don't just go through an 18s program, get selected, then play round one, and this is just that. Like, I would say that's actually foreign. Like, that's not normal. So I love that you're able to talk about it being like, I did get dropped. I didn't think I was going to get drafted. I got dropped from my 18s team, and then I had to work my way back up, and there was no blame there at all. It was just, I've just got to get on with it.
Yep.
And I think that's remarkable.
And no, and you see it come out as a person, but in his game, he's resilient and he's tough.
That's
and
it.
That's all you want in a teammate. You're resilient, they're tough, and you trust them. And Karl is so trustworthy. So, you know, we'll get to on-field this year. You've played 22 games now, and the most you've ever played in a year up until this point. And touch wood, everything's going well. You'll play the rest of the year out. But what's your favourite memory so far on field?
Out of my whole career?
Out of your whole AFL career?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few that comes to mind, but I guess some of those close wins, like that North Melbourne one, I know it was probably one where we weren't playing at our best and it was a bit nerve-wracking, but that was my first time on field in a close game, where the siren went and I just sort of, got it pretty up and about, as you can imagine, just because I love winning. But that was sort of one that comes to mind this year where you are involved in the tight game, and that was sort of my first time on field being a part of that. Is certainly one that I love. And I guess for me personally, every time I run through the banner, it's something I send a little message to myself every time. And it sounds a bit weird, but
no, it's fine.
It's always just a little reminder to myself. I sort of always try and look up and just like embrace it as much as I can, because a lot of people always tell me how quickly it does go. And like I had a very good role model in Josh Corbett when he was at the club. He's a very good man. I just try and, I guess every single time I run through that banner, I just try and look around and just embrace it what it is, because it's a pretty special feeling. And I like to describe it as like a bit of a euphoric moment, really, every time you run out.
Yep, no, it certainly
gorgeous.
is. And you might have just answered our next question, but between Muz and Corbs, we're going to take them away. We're going to actually, because it's an easy answer. But who has taught you the most out of a player or coach or both at your time at Freo?
Besides those two incredible humans you've already mentioned.
I guess one probably in my first year was Angie Bain. Someone I did a lot of work with, because coming over from Victoria, it's a different move for a 19-year-old, and it can be a little bit isolating at times. And she helped me a lot in that aspect, just trying to get my life sorted over here. And yeah, I guess Twig as well. He's a big one. He's come to the club this year, but the impact he's had not only on just myself, Clarky, but also the whole team at backline in general. He's been phenomenal and just being open and vulnerable to have honest conversations. And I think that sort of allowed me to take my footy to the next level and just sort of talk about the problems you have, not just on field, but off field, and sort of dealing with that in a way.
Nice.
Love that. Well, I feel like as well, don't get me wrong, Karl, we don't just butter you up the whole podcast, which is why we're going to move on to our next segment now. But I feel like this has been a really heartfelt episode so far.
Yeah, no, it has. And it's actually amazing. And like, I'm not much older than Karl, but the different, like, not only player, but person he is now to when he first came into the club is like, it's an absolute credit to yourself, but obviously your dad. You've spoken about your dad. He's had a massive impact on your life. And I actually had a conversation with your dad after the game.
Okay.
Went over and I didn't information from.
No. I'm just going off cusp and putting this in. And I actually met your dad once before, but I couldn't remember his name. And I said, "Oh, sorry, we've met before, but I can't remember your name." And he goes, "Steve, I'm Karl's dad." I said, "Yeah, I know you're Karl's dad." And I said, "I just want to let you know your son's tough." And he goes, "Yeah, I know." And like, I was like, bloody oath, like, you should be so proud of that. Like, he owned it and he was proud of it. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. Like, that's a nice moment. And I just thought I'd share that with you because your dad obviously means so much to you. So,
yeah, certainly. I think he's definitely taught me a lot growing up, but I guess my whole family as well. It's a very good balance I think I had growing up with my mum, not knowing too much about football. And she just she'd always keep me grounded, same as my two sisters. They'd make sure that I'd never get too far.
Like, don't put your eggs in one basket.
Yes. You know, they always try and just balance me out. And you can never really get too far ahead of yourself with two older sisters because they'll put you back in your box pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I guess then that's a great segue because speaking of your older sisters, I did have to hit them up to get some tea. No. And might I just say, one of them's name is Emma.
Yep.
So even better.
So
it was like one bossy girl to another bossy girl. No, I don't even know if she's bossy. But we had to call them to get some tea on you.
Yep.
And they gave us a little bit here and there.
Yep.
Mind you, your mum was just scared to speak to me on the phone. So I just said, I'm going to text you, Siv. You just get back to me when you can. She was so sweet. But speaking of those funny stories, let's talk about your sister wanted to bring up that you got lost on the ski mountains in Japan.
Yeah, well, it was, I probably would have been year 5 or year 6. And we went on a ski holiday in Japan. And as I've sort of mentioned a few times, my dad and I are quite close. And he's not the best at listening to instructions, especially if it comes from my mother. So my mother gave him one rule when we went to the mountains. Whatever you do, don't lose the boy. And what did he do? He lost the boy.
No!
So he can't help himself. He's just, everything's a race to him. So even if it's his 10-year-old son, he's like, well, you're not meeting me down the slopes, mate. So he's just gone down. And I'm like, oh, no, I need to catch up here. Sure enough, I don't know where he went, but I've ended up at the bottom of the ski mountain, at the bottom of the lift. And I was just bawling my eyes out. And I was like speaking to the lift instructor, didn't speak much English. And it was just a weird time because I was just saying, like, oh, I'm lost, I don't know where to go. And then this one person was saying to me, you can come back with me in the village. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, so I'm not coming back with you.
I don't go with strangers.
Don't go with strangers. But eventually, I don't even know how long it was. It might have been an hour or two where I was just sort of sitting at this lift and my dad's going around asking around. But long story short, I think my dad needs to listen to instructions, but he didn't.
Yeah.
I'm actually more surprised you even got down the slope by yourself.
Very slowly.
Yeah.
But you are a
so
skiing
aggressive.
family, though. That's also what I wanted to talk about.
Yep.
So you've skied since you were a very young age.
Yep.
And it's natural for you.
Yeah, I guess in a
What's
sense.
the hardest part about it?
Oh, I'm my own worst enemy on the ski slopes. Everything I do is just a challenge, and I think that comes from my dad, where everything's a competition. So I'm like, if my dad's going down, I need to beat him. If my sister's going down, I need to beat her.
Okay, so any bad injuries with that then?
I haven't had a bad injury, but I've fallen over a few times.
Yeah, okay.
I even remember I was going up a ski lift once, but it was like a T-bar. And my sister was behind me and I was just playing a few jokes to her and I've fallen off a T-bar. And this is like in the middle of, there's just grass and stuff everywhere. And I've had to like trudge myself over to the ski thing. And this one was in North Sweden. And once again, I was just lost. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm my own worst enemy, but
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
And so lots of skiing because of that Swedish connection.
Yeah.
And then ice hockey as well. Is that due to obviously your mum being Swedish, but How did that all fit into your lifestyle here in Australia? Were you born in Sweden?
No, I wasn't born in Sweden. So, well, obviously, mum's Swedish.
So you go back all the time?
Yeah, I've been back quite a few times.
Yeah.
I spent a fair bit of time when I was younger there. But don't think Dad wanted us to spend too much time there because the footy and cricket was the most important.
Of course.
Yeah, and we'll get to the cricket because you are a massive cricket fan. And I'm pretty sure the fans have seen it. It's hit the socials at some point, hasn't it? Karl just given Virat Kohli a bit of advice when he's been knocked over cheaply in Australia, which turned out to be one of the last times you might ever see him on the cricket field in Australia. But I just want to get to, you being your own worst enemy. Sounds like you're your teammate's worst enemy too, running out half your team in a game. Is that true?
Well,
No, in a final. In a cricket final.
Oh, in a final too. Wow.
Oh, that's come from my father. Yeah. Maybe I'm better off in Bay 13. Yeah, I was opening the batting that day. We were chasing I think 100, 110, and I've managed to run out about 5 of my teammates. Hey, but in my defence, I still reckon there was a single that day. None of them were backing up, but maybe the common occurrence, it was me. And Dad was umpiring at the time, and I remember I was just almost in tears to him. I was like, I'm a bad teammate. I'm just running out 5 of my teammates in a final. But I ended up carrying the bat, and we chased it down. Lost the grand final though, but I did my job. But yeah, we lost the granny.
You lost?
Yeah,
you didn't chase the total down?
No, we chased the total down in that final, but it wasn't the grand
final.
Okay,
right.
Yeah, it wasn't
sorry,
the grand final.
So you did your job getting them there, and do you know why? All the boys were shot for confidence next week.
That's how ruined all their confidence.
No. And then you're both cricket nuffies.
Yeah.
Who's the better player?
There's a few Steve Smith for me. I can't go past that.
You're talking about between us, aren't you?
Between you.
Who's the better player? Who's the better player?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not even in the conversation.
Actually,
I love my cricket.
But you know what? But he probably could run you out.
Yeah, I probably could.
Yeah,
be careful down the strikers.
I don't back up. I just hit boundaries. We'll get back on to Karlos. And Karl, in 2010, there was an Oz Kick footy card day where you made your own footy card, and you were dressed head to toe in St Kilda kit. A bit weird playing them on the weekend then, or not?
This photo's going on the socials if it's allowed.
Oh no!
But I've got it right here.
I was the 120 centimeter.
Oh, mate, you're taking an absolute hanger.
Good joke too.
Oh my god!
It's actually it's like you've put that in the universe before you've started playing. And you going back in the flight, and just
I've labelled myself as the ruckman.
2 stars for strength.
That's where the aerial training began.
Yep.
Right here.
Not a bad frame at 131 centimetres and 26 kilos.
It's a good
so not only
you wouldn't even be able to ride on a roller coaster.
Not
Karl.
only have you got your first concussion going back to the flight, you got your first footy card, the first time getting staples, and your first shot on goal from going back to the flight. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, I cannot believe you got
At the 26 kilos.
26 kilo ruckman.
It's a heavy frame, isn't it?
26 kilo ruckman. Oh, that's fantastic. Anyways, that'll have to be going up.
Yeah. And
Sorry,
the last bit we want to continue, you've got a love affair. You've got a bloke from another team that you're obsessed with.
Yeah.
And the boys give you so much stick about it. But Nick Daicos and yourself are pretty good friends, apparently. So you tell us anyway.
Yeah. Well,
I actually asked Nick against Collingwood. He said, "Who's that?"
No, he's a good man, and we went to school together. We weren't the bestest of mates going in year 7, 8, 9. And we used to play a fair bit of footy against each other, and I wasn't a fan of him, so to say. But then he came to Carey, and he's a pretty good man. We got along well because of our footballing. And yeah, I helped him with some school stuff, and he helped me with footy.
I thought you were out, so I helped you with some footy stuff.
No, not me.
Come on, mate. No way.
I'm a 26 kilo ruckman, and I've also helped Nick Daicos win a Brownlow medal.
At that age, were you putting him down his throat?
I must have made it 26 kilos.
That is just fantastic. Good to know. We'll ask you play Collingwood in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, last time we
We'll
played
have to ask
Collingwood,
him.
I actually got sent to Nick and he sledged me, and it was a pretty good sledge. I was in the goal square and he goes, "Come with me, you'll get some camera time." I was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You're like, but I will, in fact.
You're spot on. I was like, that's pretty good. Pretty good sledge, actually.
Oh, gosh. Alrighty, moving on. That was good. And thank you to your family. I will tell them thank you
I'll have a
again
word
because
with
I
them
think
as
that
well.
was fantastic. But we're going to move on to our next segment called Getting Defensive.
I don't like Fred. I've never liked Fred. Nah, that's a lot of feedback on Twitter,
I know
so
you do.
I'll take
It's all
that
tongue in
back.
cheek.
All right, Karl, we've got a round of quick fire questions, so we will go back and touch on answers later, but for now, we are going to get through these as quick as we can. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Coffee order.
Lactose-free cappuccino, extra hot.
Well, you're already behind. Favourite board game?
Monopoly.
All right, get back to that.
Name another team you follow in another sport.
Cricket Australia.
Favourite AFL player you used to watch growing up?
Nick Daicos.
Favourite subject back in school?
PA.
Morning person or a night person?
Jeez. Not either, to be honest. Maybe morning.
What's your go-to pub meal?
Steak.
Favourite footy ground to play on?
Optus.
Do you face towards the water in the shower or away from it?
Away?
Yep.
Which celebrity annoys you the most?
Don't know.
What show are you currently watching?
Walking Dead.
Nice. Okay. Well
Straight
done.
Monopoly.
Straight back. Okay.
Do you play Monopoly board game or not?
No.
Yeah. So
I play
that's-
Monopoly Deal, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
cards.
not a board game.
I still
So
think we've had other people that are just lying to us and saying that they actually play
Yeah, I'll
it.
play it. Yeah.
Like,
No one's
at
played.
least you're honest with.
No, I don't play it.
Okay, so
Too
you,
long, too boring. But I just thought
I
Monopoly
also
Deal.
agree. Monopoly's too long, too boring.
I don't
Right.
have the. I don't
And
have the
someone
patience
always
for it.
cheats. Whoever's looking after money cheats, and then it's.
I
Just
feel like
shocking.
it's the go-to answer. But I also think maybe it's because people don't play board games anymore.
Nah, I don't think so either.
You don't play board games.
No.
You hate board games.
I can't sit still for long enough.
Neither.
You grew up with a big family though. Like surely you sat down and played board
I
games.
just end up in a big punch up.
Same, but it's always fun.
Yeah, no, it's not really. Favourite AFL team, I could have picked his player as well, which was
Nick.
Nick Rewalt. Looked like him on that footy card. Go to pub meal, steak. How would you like it cooked? What
Yeah.
sauce?
Medium rare, bit of pepper sauce.
Running,
Oh.
running
Steak
chips
night.
with it or veggies?
Veggies. No,
Ooh.
of course, there's some chips.
Oh,
Chips,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
you have to.
I was about to actually judge you for getting the
Yeah,
veggies.
legit.
Um,
Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with that.
no
Then you
celebrities that annoy you? No.
Oh, I can't really think of any.
Yeah.
Got some that come to mind.
No.
and the shower question kind of got you a little bit, threw you off.
Oh, I had to think about it, but I think it's away.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Anyways, that was actually pretty good.
Anyway, so we'll move on to the McFarlane Medal, which is the defensive play from the weekend. So we'll get into that.
Oh, Luke McFarlane right on half-time. It's McFarlane! And leaping McFarlane!
All right, Karl. So you know the drill. We nominate a player for their best defensive act from the weekend because it's all about celebrating defence on this podcast.
Which is
Have you
fantastic.
got one on the top of your brain to
Top of your brain.
Yeah, I've run.
Rogue.
just yeah.
Some of Coxie's spoils.
Yep.
Love. I mean, we talked about it in the backs before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was obviously quite a crook in the morning, but some of his spoils and clear his spoils was elite and something we value pretty highly as backs.
I also feel like Coxie took two incredible marks in the last quarter, I think, as well. Like late in the game, it was
Yep.
so good. So
Yep.
love that man, and he's a avid podcast listener, and
Love
he's
that
also
man.
been a member twice on here.
Yeah. No, we do
That's
love
great.
him.
We do love him.
A lot of people didn't actually know that Karl touched on. He was crook as a dog when he woke up Sunday morning.
What's wrong with
He
him?
was so crook. And he ended up getting up and said, "Nah, I'll play. I'm good."
If it's gastro, I don't want to hear about it.
Nah, I don't think so. I think it was
The old flu.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, man flu.
Anyways, that's a great one. I'm actually going to nominate you, Karl, for the back with the flight massive spoil that you then got a 50-metre penalty for late in the third, but then 40-metre penalty for, sorry. And then I also wanted to touch on, I just thought you were sensational, Jord, and you ended up getting 10 coaches' votes, which is outstanding, and we don't pump each other up enough. So I'm telling you, you had a ripper game, but I think it was just your repeat efforts for me, and I did love late in the third as well. You had to press up to Sinclair, and you created a turnover there. Then gave away the free kick. We won't
Yeah,
talk about that, though,
that's
but
right.
I think there were some huge moments from this man as well.
Thanks, Sam. My defensive play, well, it's pretty hard to look past the big JT's chase.
I love that.
There was a few other moments I just want to throw in there as well. Banner's back with a flight
Yep.
first quarter, getting the hand in. Porter
it.
down the other end.
Love it.
Yeah,
I thought Omac had a few great efforts. I also love that at the late in the game as well. JT just legs it
Yep.
from our inside 50, 2D 50 to help out. I'm just like,
Help me on the goal
that's
line.
it. Yeah, yeah.
I just saw him come across. I was like, thank God.
But that's just unreal.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. We have been highlighting forwards too much, though, so I'm glad we threw a few backs in this week.
Yep. No,
Was
we have.
nice.
A few blokes have done at both ends, though. Banners, Porter. They've been playing at both ends. JT.
Well, they might be up there in the voting when
Karl,
we
Clark.
finally look into that.
Doing it both
Not
ends.
after my goal kicking.
No, we ignore that. Don't worry about that. But many more, obviously, defensive acts that we want to see this weekend when you guys take on Sydney. That is Sunday.
Last time we went to Sydney, good memories.
Yep.
Just got over the line, did it ugly. They had a shot after the siren, and we ended their 10-game winning streak. That's when they were flying last year. But, yeah, no, I'm expecting a red-hot Sydney Swans. Don't worry about that.
Yep.
So, no, it'll be another cracking game of football, I'm sure.
How are you feeling, Carl?
No, feeling very good. Ready to go. First time at the SCG.
Perfect.
hopefully, so
Well,
we'll see how we
Is
go.
it?
Yeah.
Right.
Saw
Did
the
not
cricket
know
there
that.
at the start of the year,
Yeah.
but it's as close as
Back
I got.
to the cricket.
That's cool. That's cool.
Perfect. Well, we
and
can't
then
wait.
also this weekend, Shea Bolton celebrating his 150th AFL game. So it's a
Huge.
massive milestone for Bolts. He's done a fair bit in that time too. So
He's an
hopefully we can
absolute
add
gun.
another win onto that record for him. But yeah, no, thanks, Karl, for jumping in today. We appreciate it. Hopefully
you.
the fans
Thank you
get to
very
know you a
much.
bit more.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
You were
No,
great.
Our pleasure.
And good luck this weekend. And
Thanks.
stay tuned for another episode of Better Down Back next week.
Thanks, Em.